So, good morning, all, and welcome to the third series of CPD. We have been working hard to bring you the people from the industry who can actually help you drive your career into the domain which actually you like. So, today we have invited expertise from UAV, which basically stands for Unmanned Aerial Vehicles. Let's welcome Mr. Garvit on the session, who's there on board with us today. Hi, Garvit.
Hello, Dhiraj.
Yeah. So, just I'll take few minutes to introduce Garvit. So Mr. Garvit did his MTech in aeronautical engineering with specialization in UAV. He also did various projects in this field and published papers. After serving industry for more than 4 years, now he has started his own venture named Innovative Unmanned Systems. This is what just a short introduction on his career. I think we'll talk more on this field with Garvit now.
Sure, Dhiraj. So it is quite a great thing that you called me upon IEEE section for career program. The main thing here is we need to discuss that nobody knows about the future career, or I will say like how to proceed in this field. So that's the biggest issue, and nobody is coming up in this sector that as a part of guidance or information that how one should go ahead. Basically, for the freshers, and I find it quite a good program from your part. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
so Dheeraj, should we go ahead with the presentation, or
Sure, Garvit. Yeah, we can move ahead.
I think I have I do not have the share option. Hello, Dheeraj.
Yeah. Shivraj, do we need give access for share?
You are the
Yes, I have received it. So basically, I would like to start with uh, talking about myself and my experience. So, as per the today's session is about the career in UAV industries. Um, it's almost 4 or 5 years, I will say, that I have started working in the field of drones, whether it is a multi-rotor system or a fixed-wing vehicle. We look into the depth of what is my total experience and what are all the types of drones I have worked on so far. But the basic introduction that I will say is we also need to talk about the drones that are available in this field.
Garvit, sorry to interrupt. Can you bit louder or I mean on audience side? Can you check your mic closer? Uh, can you
Just
put
a
your
second.
voice closer to mic? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Hello. Is it audible now?
Thank you.
Um, yeah. Actually, I just wanted to turn off my video because I think maybe there is some issue with that one.
Sure, Garvit. We can go with the slide itself.
Yeah. So can you turn it off? I am not able to find this on my PC. I don't know why.
Okay. Let's check.
Hello. So, am I audible now? Is it good?
Yes, Garvit, it is better.
Yeah. So, my name is Garvit Pandya, and I have done MTech in aeronautical engineering with specialization in unmanned aerial vehicles. So, this was the first course that started in the year 2014 in India, and there were only three universities that were providing this course. One university um, uh, uh, was having the course of MTech in aeronautical engineering with specialization in UAVs like mine. The another was having a master's degree in avionics, and the third one was having master's degree in aerospace. But everyone was having the common thing as a specialization in UAVs. And I will say like we were only four students in this first course. There were lack of books because that was the first course, and even the libraries were not having, I will say like the hard copies. Definitely, professors and everyone helped us uh, for our studies as a soft copy of the book. But it becomes quite difficult when you have to study and read in the previous night of examination with the soft copies. So we used to make notes, and all these things went well anyway. Then we came into the practical aspects of the drones. And now, after these many years of experience, I have just recently started my own proprietorship company, I will say, that is Innovative Unmanned System. And we are looking forward to make drones for certain applications like survey and photographies and maybe some customized applications. Because in the field of UAV, when you do not go for commercial off-the-shelf market like DJI drones, that is shown in this white drone. So if we do not go for commercial off-the-shelf drones, we'll have to go for the customization. This customization is totally based on um, what is the client requirement. So no one client will have the common requirements. So let's see all these aspects. What was my career? What I am looking forward for 5 years? What can be the possibilities? Um, how DGCA is working on these things? Because anyhow, our drone directorate is also coming up. So this all these things makes the job position open as India becomes the future drone market. So from here also the possibilities come up. So we need to talk about even drone directorate here, and then we will also talk about the major career opportunities like hardware engineer, software engineer, design engineer, who can be the best fit. So we'll talk about almost everything in this aspect. So let's start our discussion. So today we will discuss about, as I said, like what is my current profession, what was my role previously, what were the skills required, what was my education from my, I mean, from bachelor's and everything, and then how you can develop these skills or uh, further career-related question into the drones. So, coming to my education qualification, before talking about education qualification, I would like to say uh, I was born in Rishra, Kolkata, and I was brought up in a small town of Rajkot, that is in Gujarat. I have done my 10th, 12th, and all the schoolings in Rajkot itself. And then I did my diploma in electronics and communication engineering from Christ College, Rajkot itself. Then for my further studies, I went to Jaipur in Rajasthan, and I did my BTech in electronics and communication engineering from Pune Institute of Engineering and Technology. There we did some project on sensors like gas detection and such alarm systems. So today that looks like that's a small project, but at that time it was like nobody was doing it, and we can get research papers and everything was um, at the time sensors were not quite peak in demand and trending. Then I was looking for my master's degree in some unique systems, and I went for a couple of universities like IIRS, Dehradun, um, then Amrita University, Coimbatore, because I was looking for course on remote sensing and geoinformatics systems. So that is basically as we see that ISRO captures some images from their satellites and send it to their respective departments, and then they process this data. So based on that only we can come to know about on which path locust swarm is coming on. We can also do some weather analysis. So all these things are happening with the help of satellites and some imagery. So I was looking for those remote sensing based course, and IIRS got full, and meanwhile I went to Amrita University. I cleared the interview, but number of students were less. So they said like it is quite difficult to run a course when you have a less number of students. Uh, so fast forward to the next year. In meanwhile, I was working somewhere in a small scale, and meanwhile I was doing my postgraduate diploma in project management. That was from MIT School of Distance Education, Pune. Uh, then for the next year, when I was looking for my master's degree in remote sensing again for the admission and all, I came up with an information regarding UAVs, and it sound very interesting when you come to know about UAVs and how it works and what are all the things, what's the future. So when I did, it was totally like blank in India. When I used to travel, and if I used to talk to someone, when they ask me what you are doing, they will never come to know about what drone is until and unless I explain them that these are the things that's happening in India, whether it is in commercial or civil side, or maybe in terms of research and development, or maybe in defense purposes. So let's talk about drones. So these are the drones that are taking measure into the markets. Like this is a multi-rotor system. We call it as a quadcopter system. It has got 4 motors, and this is the most common drone that we have all observed in an event. Um, there is a camera, and this flies for 25 minutes, and it takes around 1 hour to charge. It can go up to 1 kilometer of or 2 kilometer of radius, um, as per the locality. Like if it is in a city in the building, it can go up to 1 kilometer. If it is in an open area, it can fly up to 2 kilometers. So this is the most common commercial of the shelf, and it is the most famous DJI company drone. The same capability of flight time of 25 to 30 minutes. This is a customized drone that is in terms of frames. So it's like all these frame parts, like we call it as arms or landing gears. All these things we get as a loose frame. We assemble it, and as per our selection of motors or propellers or all the different electronics, whatever I want, I can use it as per my need. So, for example, there are two companies of motor like T Motors. Another is a Sunny Sky Motors. If I feel like T Motor is quite costly for me and I should go for Sunny Sky Motor, here we have the choice of going with the Sunny Sky Motor. In this commercial of the cell, we can have what they are giving, including the remote control systems. We cannot have of our own choice. The other advantage of this drone is we can have any camera or any personal required sensors that can be mounted here on this drone. Whereas this drone comes up with a normal RGB camera. If I want to go for a multispectral camera mission, in that case, I cannot use this drone. For that, I need a different sensor or a different camera. So at that time, we go for customized drones, and that is the value of customized drones. That we can remove the camera we can remove a zoom camera or a RGB camera, and we can put a multispectral camera, or we can change it to thermal camera, whatever we need. This one in the middle, top middle is Rustam 2 drone that is designed and developed by DRDO India. And this is a T-tail drone that is mainly built for the purpose of surveillance and reconnaissance over the field. Across the border. This tiny helicopter is a 10 centimeter in size in terms of length, and it has got 3 cameras. The total weight is 18 grams of this helicopter, and it flies for 30 minutes. The 3 cameras are looking in the front, looking in the bottom 45 degree, and looking in the bottom towards the ground 90 degree. This drone can be used everywhere where there are terrorist activities are going on, inside the forest, in the border areas, in Naxalite areas. And it was developed by a Norwegian company, Prox Dynamics AS, which is now owned by Fleur Systems. And this particular tiny piece of drone comes in crores. This is the latest developed VTOL drones. VTOL drones are like when this fixed wing drone fly, it needs a runway. For VTOL drone, they have combined this drone and this drone, and it serves the purpose of taking off. So there is not necessity, or there is no necessity of a runway. You can take off from anywhere vertically, and then you can fly it as a plane. So once it is in air, you can change the thrust system of forward as a fixed wing system, and it will fly as a fixed wing drone like this. And after your mission is over, you will need to the drone once the drone comes above you, and if you want to land, you can turn the motors of four motors of quadcopter, and you can land it easily without any need of runway. This is mainly developed, and it is quite important application where we have to go for the recent landslides, or in some natural disaster calamities, everywhere where we cannot have a runway and we need a long flight time. This big drone is also a quadcopter drone, but it has got flexible arms. So it's like these arms will get folded once we have we are with mission. And there are sprayers. So this is basically a sprayer drone that is used in the agriculture purpose. So what happens, like this is a 20 kg drone, uh, with the maximum takeoff weight, and um, and it can carry a 10 to 16 liter of this one fertilizer or a water for the spraying purpose. And it flies at I mean, we can fly it at even 1 kilometer, but the basic need of spraying is at up to 10 meters of altitude in the farms. So if we go above that, it will spread it more, and it will blow away with the wind. Uh, the agriculture, I mean, the fertilizer and all other raw materials. Uh, in the drone industry, for the manufacturing purpose, we have different aspects. So, for particularly if we talk about manufacturing, we have the aspects of drone designing. So that is totally of the part of 3D design, where the aerodynamics and stress strain analysis and all these things comes up. That if we fly this, whether it will be efficient design or not. Um, we do this even in our car design, truck design, and all the vehicles get designed in the same way with the help of aerodynamics. The second thing that comes up is a design calculation. For this purpose, we need an expected maximum takeoff weight. So, for example, if we have a maximum takeoff weight of 2 kg, or our need is like it will get most fit in 1.6 kg or 1.7 kg. So we consider it as a 2 kg. And then all the calculations about what will be the size of payload, what will be the weight of the payload, what motors we can best fit, whether the design will be X type of quadcopter or a plus type of quadcopter or H type of quadcopter. So all these things are put up on the calculations, and then the selection of motors and all the other electronics are done based on these calculations. Because uh, uh, the major thing is endurance. Everybody wants the endurance more than 25 minutes, like 40 minutes or 1 hour. But for that purpose, we need to go for much R&D things, and the calculation needs to be precise. So once this designing part is done and the 3D design is over, we need to go for the design analysis. That whatever we have designed, we have to go for stress strain and whether the selected material will work fine or not. Then there comes a simulation. This simulation part is totally dependent on the control system. So it's like in the this is basically a flight control system part, and we have PIDs, proportional, integral, and derivative in our control system. So all the drones have their own PIDs, and we need to tune it. So that is the aspect in terms of hardware. But if you want to, so what happens, like if I have a small drone, I can go on the field, I can tune the PID, that is fine. That is quite understandable. But when there is a bigger drone, I can't fly it without having a PID tuned to an, I will say, like, not precise, but to an approximate level. So what happens, like we have to go for the simulation, that this is a drone design, this is its control system, this is its all the propulsion and everything is done. We are flying at this much of altitude and this much of speed. Now when I give a right turn, and after after it is after the drone is turned right, and we if I want to level it again back, so whether it is going towards the left as an overshoot or not. So that is all this simulations can do. So what happens, like we can get this all done before even um, we have a manufactured product in our hand. We can have a design, we can have a control system. So all these things are virtually available in terms of program, and that can be done. So uh, this is quite an important role. This plays a quite an important role in the industries where where the drones are like quite big, and they do not want to get it crashed in the first go. Uh, Sure. I mean, of course, they are going to have a prototype once these simulations are done. Nearby simulations are done. So they are definitely going to have a prototype for it, and then they are going to practically test it whether the simulations are fine or not. So once these are done, then the manufacturing of the parts, selection of the ready-made parts, and its procurement and all these things comes up. um, then when we have this all the products available with us, we go for the quality testing of all the parts, whether it is ready-made frames that we purchase, or we get it customized, build up the carbon fiber frames from some company as per our requirement. So all these things comes up internally. Once everything is tested, we go for assembling, integration, and all this procedure of making the drone ready for flying. So all these things comes up. So this this looks like a one line of assembly, integration, and make the drone ready to fly, but it is quite a big procedure that you have to go for all the small cables and everything, all the solderings you have to do. Uh, Integration of flight controllers, settings of flight controller as per the requirement, tuning it, and everything we need to do. Then we go for a ground testing. So the ground testing is basically like uh, whether this drone is totally ready for flying or not. So this is tested in terms of hardware assembly that has already been done, as well as motor testing, whether all the four motors or all the things are working fine. In terms of fixed wing vehicle, we'll have to test the engine, whether the engine is engine operation is fine, and all the control surface operations are fine. Then we go for the basic flight testing, and it is done in quite an open field area, because that is quite a safe thing. This test flight is done totally in terms of remote control, and we do not go for flight controller on the first go. So we do not put our so there are two systems, like when you do your settings on your remote control, you can have a you can have a switch assigned for your manual flying, or stabilized flying, or acrobatic flying, or an auto mode flying. So that is auto mode is an autonomous flying, where you just give a way path to the drone, and it will follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the waypoints, and it will come back to you. So in terms of basic flight testing, we just test it manually, that whether the performance of this drone is fine or not. Once it looks fine, and we are ready for the tuning, then we tune it, we do the fine tuning of it, and then we go for another testing, that is the mission testing, where we give different waypoints, we give land mover things, and uh, all the rigid test of flying goes on at certain altitudes, like maybe 60 meter or 80 meters. So let's talk about what is going on in India regarding unmanned aerial vehicles. So the first good thing that is that I would like to share here is we have DGC as Director General of Civil Aviation. It used to control the rules and regulations, banning of drones from 2015 to 2018, and then coming up with the draft regulations and permissions of for the unmanned aerial vehicles in India. So all these things we used to control by Director General of Civil Aviation, and now they have recently got approval from Finance Ministry regarding drone directorate. So there will be 15-20 people of in the drone directorate who will be deciding totally the things on drones. And now they have separated from DGCA. So that is one good thing that has come up in 2020 December, or I will say like early 2021. So this gives us, this can open up quite a good opportunity for all of us, as the government has started working on drone things as a separate part. So they are still now working on the finalization of the rules and regulations of flying in India, and uh, and they have come up with the draft regulations. So as per the draft regulations, these are the categories for flying of drones in India. That there will be a nano category in which the drone that weighs up to 250 grams. So basically, these drones, I consider it as a toy drones, because none of the drones that weighs 250 grams can fly in the windy situation in India, and you will be having a flight time of like 5 to 10 minutes maximum. These are the drones that are available on Amazon or Flipkart that you see, or you get it purchased from Thailand or maybe Alibaba or somewhere. So these are all this 5 to 10,000, 15,000 rupees drone with a 1 or 2 megapixel camera. It cannot be used for any application until and unless we have something like that small tiny helicopter of 18 gram, um, and so that is something which will come under nano category definitely. But as far as commercial and for normal people we talk, we do not have something that is quite unique in that term. So nano drones do not require any kind of permission if you want to fly, but outside you can't fly even beyond, I will say, like 60 feet. So that's their range and flying limitation. Then the second thing that comes up is a micro category that weighs from 250 grams to 2 kg. So these drones are like that comes relevant to DJI drones of 1.3 to 1.4 kg. And we can have a customized drone, our own design, maybe even foldable design, which can weigh up to 2 kg with a normal RGB camera. So this category serves the purpose of photography, um, then then thermal inspections, then multispectral inspections, then all the type of survey and mapping things. This drone can do it. And for this UV, the drone directorate have decided to have a UIN, that is a like we have RTO for our vehicle for the registration. So we get a number plate. In the same way, we are going to have a number plate for drones. So that is a unique identification number that will be there for each and every drone. So there can't be a circumstances that a drone when went on the field. Um, I will change my number. I will change my number plate and use it on another drone. these things can't be done because they are coming up with certain things like no permission, no takeoff. I will explain this once we discuss all this, once we are done with this category. So then there is a small category that weighs from 2 kg to 25 kg. Now these drones are it comes in the category of sprayer drone, maybe some surveillance drones that comes up with the zoom camera. Then it can cover the drones that have a lidar sensor attached on it. And there are many applications where small drones can work because it's just coming up a little bit about a micro category. Micro category is quite typical that as we have to limit it to 2 kg. So certain times, like if I talk about this particular drone, then it weighs around 3.2 kg. I am about 2 kg and it weighs up to 3.2 kg. So under such circumstances, this small category works for me. Then there is a medium category that is 25 to 250 kg maximum takeoff weight is allowed. So these drones are quite surveillance drones as well as military drones. Uh, then vaccine deliveries, drone deliveries, all these things can also come up in this cargo deliveries. So all these things come up like a zipline drone, uh, which um, which carries blood from one location to another location. It is working quite good in South African countries. So then they may not have a payload of above 5 kg or 10 kg, but the thing is like they need quite a good amount of endurance. So for that battery will be required, the battery required will be quite heavy. Then comes the large drone. Large drones are about 250 kg category, and these are totally, I will say, like we consider it as a military drones like Rustam 2 or a surveillance drone like Rustam 2. Now coming to what is NPNT. NPNT stands for no permission, no takeoff. So until you get the permission from DGCA or a drone directorate, so they have a website called Digital Sky, and until you get the permission from them, you cannot fly your drone. So for that purpose, we have a flight control system. We have a software system with the permission artifact and all these things readily available. We have to register our drones. Once this drone is registered, when we are on the field, we apply for permission from the field. We set the location. We give them total area. Like in this 2 kilometer of radius, I will be flying today's mission. Once this is done, the pilot needs to put their permission information that this is my pilot ID and I am a registered and approved pilot of DGC or drone directorate. Once this is done, then they can send this permission artifact to Digital Sky, and the Digital Sky will evaluate it. The evaluation process is in three types: whether uh, whether the person is trying to fly in green zone, yellow zone, or in red or a red zone. So once the system identifies that it is a green zone, it will directly permit you for flying. If you are in yellow zone, then there are chances based on the locality. Like if you are flying nearby airport or what is the issue. And then the red zones are totally like you want to fly near Central Secretariat and Parliament and everything. So there you have to go for physical applications and all these things for, and it needs quite a good prior permission. So why I talk about this whole slide and all these categories and no permission, no takeoff? The main reason behind is um, commercial off-the-shelf drones like DJI. They are not going to have no permission, no takeoff systems on their drones. So definitely there will be a boost in the market of drones in India and made in India drones, I will say. So the parts you may get from anywhere. Maybe you are purchasing some parts from Germany or USA or Australia or maybe China, I will say. But the drones will be made in India. The parts like auto flight control system will have no permission, no takeoff artifact system, and all these things are necessary to be there. Then only you will be permitted. So in that case, the foreign countries are not going to come up with these things in the first sector. So this is where the manufacturing sector is going to boom up in very short time. This is what we observe for the last 2 to 3 years. So uh, these are the UAV subsystems, and I am just talking about a quad rotor system where um, just a second. So this is the quadcopter system that we are talking about normally because I mean that is the basic system we can talk about and give you information in the beginning. I don't want to complicate things for you, because we are more interested in talking about how a mechanical engineer or electronics engineer can start working on drones. So we just want to look on that aspect in the depth. So a particular quadcopter system will require this sort of subsystem. So this is a motor, an electronic speed controller that will be connected with the battery, and there will be a remote controller for flying, and of course propellers are going to help you with the generation of the lift. So now this all the electronics are interrelated. Let's see that how they are connected and how they are going to be mounted on this drone. So this is I didn't cover flight controller system in this list because it's there in the next one. So the center one that is named as Pixel, that is a flight controller system, and it is connected with transmitter. So this is a transmitter. We call it as a remote control system. This transmitter is connected with wirelessly connected with this receiver system. Uh, this four motors. These are the four motors. So when we talk about four motors connection with the flight control system, here they have used electronic speed controller that is 4-in-1. So it can allow the control of power distribution in between all the four motors. So this comes as a junction box, but these days these are like very rarely available in India. So we go for this type of electronic speed controller. So this what happens, like it will directly connect with this one particular motor. It will have no connection with the other motors. So all the four motors will have this sort of connections, and then there will be a customized power distribution board that needs to be soldered and all this connections to be done. So that will work as a power distribution board here, and it will control the speed of the motors. This speed of the motors comes in picture when you have to control your speed of the drone. I mean, I mean, increasing the altitude, going ahead, coming backward, going on the right side of your or the left side. So there, this power distribution is going to play quite an important role, along with electronic speed controller. Uh, so this gets connected with, so this is a servo connection. We call it as a servo connection, and this gets connected with this flight controller board. And then there is a battery connection with the electronic speed controller, or we call as a power distribution board when we have separate ESCs. Then we have this. This is a we call it as a tablet or a laptop. We use whatever, but this is used as a mission planning software, and this is where we do all the settings on the software. We do all the mission planning things, all the flight planning, speed of the drones, and what will be the home location, what will be the waypoints, and after the waypoint is over, where the drone should go. So whether to come down to our home location, or they should land there itself. So this is done wirelessly, as this is a telemetry system which is directly connected with the autopilot. So this all system, apart from this particular remote control and tablet and telemetry system, ground control telemetry. Apart from these three things, all the things will be on board in the aircraft or your drone. So we have this similar drone assembled here. There is a peak sock. We have a 3DR compass. And then there are, so this is the telemetry system also connected. There is ESC, which is directly connected with the motor below this one. And then, so in this one, we do not have camera right now, but there are gimbal systems also available, and this is the platform where we can mount our camera, and we can have a smooth photography and videography, because it decreases, or I mean remove the vibrations. So this is the main aspect of UAV, and whether it is a fixed wing UAV or multi-rotor system. I'll call it as a I mean any multi-rotor system, whether it is a quadcopter or hexacopter or octarotor, whatever it may be, but this set of things are going to remain common in some or the other way. Maybe it's like the telemetry system I use is a 2 kilometer of range, but there are 80 kilometer range telemetry also available. So telemetry will be required whether you use this one or that one. So let's talk about current profession and career progression. So my current profession, I will say, like right now, as I have recently changed my profession from being an employee to being the owner. Um, uh, so the main thing is that I am targeting right now is the manufacturing of the drones. So I am planning to have my own designed drones, and that can be may not be used as a like as DJI works, but I am looking for some 2 to 3 models that is easily that can easily be flown, and I do not want to compete it with DJI, because anyhow DJI is not into NPNT systems, and what I just want is, what are all the consumer drones, I mean consumer drone users are there, they should have something that flies easily, they can carry it easily, and their purpose should get solved, whether it is a photography or a survey. So this is my major target for that is the photography and survey purpose in the beginning. On the later stage, I mean, along with this, I can go for a customization of the drone as per some client's requirement. So here, what I will have to do is all the business functions. Um, on the business functions, I will have to go for some drone services and I mean the consultancy for the drone services that someone wants to fly the so someone wants to capture the data and they comes up to me, then I will have to go for we will have to provide a pilot and we'll have to fly the system for their data capturing. So, and this also includes drone selling, and so that becomes my business function, as well as marketing is the important role for me. Um, so what I do is I design a drone in terms of 3D design calculations. I put up on the paper and I go for selection of material and manufacturing. So what we saw in the beginning, that's the total thing that comes up to me right now. And my day-to-day activities include soldering and assembly, calibration systems, tuning flight controller and remote control systems, and testing those drones. My experience in this current profession is like in terms of manufacturing of fixed wing and multi-rotor systems. I have worked for years right now, and in terms of design and calculations, also I have 4 years now that I have worked on. And then the operation management, that is the managing the team that is on the field for some mission. So that is managing them. Um, then then I worked on flight controller and ground control stations. So I have almost around like um, more than 200 flights done for DRDO so far. And then I do not have, business is something that I am learning right now. The career progression in this field. So the career progression can be seen in two aspects. Like if being an owner, what I can do, if someone is an employee, like some of you will be looking for some job or in this field. So how your career will progress. So these are the two different aspects. Now, someone who is working in 3D designing, they are definitely going to have some work on 3D designing, and maximum they are going to analyze the systems. Analyze the designs they have prepared. So these are the only two things that remains to them. It is the limitation in for everyone, whether it is a hardware engineer, then the hardware engineer is going to assemble the drones in more or less the same way. For the size of the drone is going to be different, that's all. But the career progression is definitely there, because as you do the 3D design, keep on doing the 3D designing, someday you come up with something called as a unique design. A hardware engineer will come up with the integration of new system. So that is totally new to him. Like that was the first time when I was working on a thermal camera and integration and operation. So there is always a first time, and it definitely gives us all the experience. In terms of career progression, as an owner, I will say like I can go for different models of aircraft or multi-rotor system, and then processing the data. I can go for manufacturing and operation and data processing, and definitely everybody will look for working on air taxis. Um, if if we think that air taxis are like quite a far thing and it needs quite a good investment, one can go for manufacturing the different models of drones, manufacturing and operation and data processing of uh, the data. So all this aspect of manufacturing, operation, and data processing, everything we will look into the depth shortly. And then this is the third career progression that I have thought is like manufacturing of different models, manufacturing of the parts. So in India, there is shortage of BLDC motors, electronic feed controllers, and all these things. So we can go for the manufacturing of these drone parts, and then like something like batteries, manufacturing of the batteries, and then there can be some R&D for some further innovations, like you go for some solar-based quadcopters that can fly for maybe 2 hours. So we need to go for some R&D for those things. So my experience with drones, so this will include all the jobs that I have done so far. Uh, Coming to my internship days, in UCAL Systems Limited, I was doing my internship, and I was a team lead for my final year project, and that project was an Indo-Korea project um, for the water sampling. So it was a prototype that we are working on, and we did develop a hovercraft system that contains a multi-rotor system. So it's like the hovercraft system and multi-rotor system will be attached to each other. So when my hovercraft will be on the land or water, it will move along with the multi-rotor over it. And when I want to fly it, the multi-rotor will fly along with the hovercraft. So that was Indo-Korea project, and we worked on its we worked with, we worked on its prototype system. We made the hovercraft with the balsa and plywood. And along with that, as we all know, in the internship, we do not only work on the project. So I worked on the development of fixed wing vehicles, hovercraft system, and of course this hovercraft and multi-rotor system combination. The skills I required for this is the design of hovercraft, design of multi-rotor system, design calculation of hovercraft and multi-rotor systems, and integration of autopilot system on fixed wing and multi-rotor system. Uh, so this is something where I learned to work on my autopilot systems, and so this was totally a self-learning, and I will say like I started using Autodesk Fusion 360 software from this project itself, because my 3D designer was was quite busy with something else that was assigned to me. So I learned myself this 3D designing software, and kept on working to, yeah, even I will say like right now we develop a 3D design for our customized camera mount, like thermal camera mount, and so we get it 3D printed. Then I went to Jagridar Aero Products uh, for my further experience. And so this UCAL JEP Systems Limited contains Jagridar Aero Product. So UCAL Fuel System and Jagridar Aero Product was the two different entities that combined for this particular project. So in Jagdar Aero Products, I was working as a multi-rotor system developer and a fixed wing development. So majorly, I used to work as a hardware engineer and um, I used to work on integration parts of all the electronic systems, testing of the engines, and then going on the field for the testing of the aircraft. So here I got quite a lot of opportunity in terms of working with DRDO Chess Hyderabad. So that is a DRDO unit, and for them uh, we flew aircraft for around, I will say, like for them we have flown for 200 times. So it's like 200 flights for us, and uh, our 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 home based testing will be a different thing. So we'll go on the field, we'll tune it, and all this testing. These these all the flights are different. So we consider it as a 50 to 100 flights separately for this purpose. So then there was an ADRD Agra, that is also a DRDO unit. In that project, um, I just missed one thing in DRDO chess project. So that was the laser testing of their project where we used to fly our aerial target. So they will give us a waypoint system, maybe 4 to 5 waypoints of 2 to 4 kilometer of radius. The drone, the fixed, that was a fixed wing project, and the fixed wing will fly in that given path. They will lock the target and they will hit the laser towards us. So that is something that is now on our Rashtrapati and maybe Prime Minister's residence terrace, where they are using anti-drone system, anti-drone laser system to fire up the drones that fly in the radius of 3 kilometers. So it is quite a similar to that. Now they are also coming up with anti-drone systems, laser-based anti-drone systems for our defense purpose on the border area. The next one is DRDO ADRD project. So in this project, if somebody knows about thrust vectoring system, so the thrust vectoring system is like we will move the engine from the horizontal to vertical, or vertical to horizontal, or from the front base engine to we keep it down. So this rotation of the engine is known as vectoring system, thrust vectoring system. So this there was an engine of around 200 kg, and that was required to vectored on an airship. So that was an ADRD project where they have already have an airship, but we were working on how to rotate that 200 kg weighing engine. So that was the that was the major task for us. Because while flying with the precision, if we want to control an engine vectorization, it is like quite a difficult thing, and when it's 200 kg thing. And then we worked on many Indian Army related projects, and flown for their army and other surveillance purposes. So there I worked for a year, and I required this many skills of ground control station operation on DRDO, but I will say, like, I learned it myself, because there was no one who can guide. So it's not fault of any company, but these things come up recently, and someone needs to be the first one, by keeping their hands into it. So it's not necessary that every time for example, we buy a new phone. It's quite a different when we switched over from a bar phone to smartphone, but we learned it ourselves. Nobody came up to us. Sometimes there are very rare condition in a year where we have to go for Google search for searching that if I want to do some settings for this particular thing, how to do that. So this is how we learn. So uh, the same way I learned all this ground control station operation on mission planner or few ground control station, and all these applications I learned by myself, and setting up the things, um, and then there was a maintenance of fixed wing. So this maintenance of fixed wing requires like you need to observe precisely that if there is any cracks or something has happened once the fixed wing has landed or a multi-rotor system has landed, and all the motors and everything is in good operation. Coming to Enercom Solutions Private Limited, so that was the defense part where I was totally working on fixed wing vehicles majorly, apart from a couple of or maybe 4 to 5 multi-rotor systems. And this is totally a company where I used to work on services part. So as a technical manager hardware, I used to develop and maintain the drones as per the requirement. So maintenance will always be there, but the development won't be there on a regular purpose. If I have a requirement of a multispectral camera surveillance, and if I do not have a drone, so for the first time I will be designing and developing a drone for that can carry a multispectral camera for us. So we do not sell those drones, but we will fly for our own services purpose. So a service-based company will always look into the aspects of uh, collection of the data and data processing. This collection of data is for the purpose of land mapping, road widening, and solar inspections, agriculture inspections. Then, then there is a need of trees counting, slum mapping, um, uh, tower tower mapping. So that is our electrification thing. And then there is water flow analysis, that as per the elevation, what will be the flow of water if there is some wall falls and or something like that. So this is a totally different aspect of the company, and here all the services and the commercial services thing goes on. So there I used to, the major thing I used to do was managing the survey projects, that if a project comes up, how to fly, where to fly, and how to go. I mean, how the team will be proceeding, with the help of which drone the images will be captured, uh, how they will be transferring the data if there is a project of 10 days or 20 days or maybe 3 months, how to plan mission for them when they are on the field, and all the other client-based requirement, understanding, and if there is any change in the requirement, if there is something that is quite a hurdle for us, so that needs to be discussed with the client. So all these things were the part of operation management team. And now innovative unmanned systems is coming up. So these are all the aspects that I already discussed. So I think I should not repeat it and go ahead with the further thing. So now talking about the skills required. Um, One needs to have a 3D designing skill if they so these are the skills that I have totally listed it out. I have not separated it. um, what I will do is we have a separate slide for all the design aspects and all these things. So like we have this design engineer, what they can do. So we'll discuss that later with this slide. But I would like to discuss that these things. Apart from these technical skills, we need these skills that discipline, patience, dedication, creativity, attention, and cautiousness. So all these things are required when you are working in a drone sector, whether it is a manufacturing, whether it is a data processing, whether it is a pilot on the field. So pilot uh, needs to have a discipline, ethics. They have to have some attention, and they have to be cautious for anything. Um, Talking about the courses in this field, so there are courses running as a certificate and short-term courses of 1 week or 10 days. So how fruitful they are, that is difficult to identify because I don't think drone is something that we can teach or we can explain in 1 day or 1 week or something like that. You have to start working on these aspects practically, and you will come to know about certain different things once you experience it. So there are piloting courses for multi-rotor and fixed wing things are available. Multi-rotor system trainings are also available. Uh, so that is multi-rotor system training is kind of like 4 to 5 days training, and it costs around 50,000 rupees for those 4 to 5 days. And then there are fixed wing training that is kind of a 8 days training and 8 to 10 days training, and there you can get information about how to design and develop it, and then how to fly it. And then there is an operation management, like how you are going to manage your team when they are on the field. There are times when I used to manage different fields I mean, different team on different fields. So someone will be in Ahmedabad, someone will be um, in uh, in Jaipur or something that I used to manage. So these things that comes up for operation management purpose. Uh, for an intern, there are quite a good opportunities that are coming up even these days. Like the companies required designing and analysis purpose. So they want to have someone who can 3D design their drones or their own drones, and they can analyze it. They want someone for multi-rotor system assembly, and then the business management also. The companies are now looking for business management internship. As I said, master's degree is available with these three universities: Weltec University, UPEAS Dehradun, and Hindustan University Chennai. Talking about various positions in a drone company. So this is I will say, like, this is the major thing that one needs to look for. Um, so the main thing that we would like to talk about is in the first go is research and development. How you can contribute in terms of research and development for our country. Uh, for for those who are aeronautical engineers, they can go for design innovations. They can have their own design with the help of precise aerodynamics and something that you can that that can be unique from your point of view, and that is practically possible, which is which has already been done in the past but failed, or maybe which is totally a new concept. So in that case, like something like DRDO, NAL, and all these things are all these organizations are working on this aspect as a research and development part. And then there is a propulsion system research that uh, with the very less weight of engine, how we can have quite a good amount of thrust. For the mechanical also, design and propulsion remains the common thing, because they are also having some information related to what they have studied in CAD and CFD and all these things. Material is something that mechanical engineers are best fit for. So as we have carbon fibers and balsa as the lightest and the strongest material, apart from Kevlar. So we have these two materials, but we need more materials which can be lighter, but but they can have quite a good amount of strength. For the electrical electronics engineer, the electric propulsion system simulations, as I have said previously, that MATLAB Simulink or Gazebo simulations, where you can analyze that how your drone control system is going to work. So control system is something that is a major aspect for an electronics engineer who wants to go for um, R&D thing. So control system and flight control system, PID tuning and all these things, along with it combines with the simulation itself. And there are different payloads and how you communicate with your drone, how to decrease the latency, how to have a long range communication. So all these aspects of radio and communication system that can be worked on. For IT and CS, they can work on the flight control system programming, that comes for control system things, and the payload integration. So here is a good example that when we work on a lidar system or some other type of newly developed system, uh, which is totally not for, I mean, that is not commercially off the shelf for a drone. In that case, we need to develop a software or a program for its operation and integration with the flight control system. So in that case, we need this is where an ITCS programmer can do their research. They can have a payload and uh, they can do the R&D for its integration with different sets of multiple I mean flight control systems and and all other innovative research like swarm of drones, SLAM mapping. Um, so different practices for these things like swarm. How we can go ahead with a swarm of drones in a different way. How we can have a line follower drone. So all these aspects can be looked into the R&D purpose for IT and CS. Coming to a job position, so that was R&D and scientific thing. Now coming to private and all the other sectors where you work as a design engineer. So someone who is a mechanical engineer and aeronautical engineer, or someone who is good in designing in spite of from any other engineering field. So for them, their role should be like they have a unique design concept in their mind when their owner or a client requires. They need to understand the requirement of the client. Um, uh, they need to create something with the perspective of user. So if I am designing a drone, it doesn't mean that a user can face difficulty. It's fine. So if I have, as I have encountered here, this one. This drone is having a fixed arms and landing gear. So whenever I want to carry it, I will have to carry it in my hand, or I will have to buy a separate box for this one. We should always suggest as a designer to our client that we can go for something different in a design with foldable things. So these are all the aspects and these are all the suggestions that designers should keep in the mind, and they need precision. They need design analysis, things done quite accurately for stress and strain. And because see, in this new rules and regulation by DGCA or Drone Directorate, we are having Quality Council of India that is going to play an important role for the quality maintenance of a drone. So their first requirement will be the drone frame that you are going to use. Will those landing gears be able to land for 500 times, or for 2 years will it work? So for a designer, it is and as a manufacturer, I am going to ask this from a designer, because they have designed the thickness of carbon tubes or maybe some other materials. So based on that, they will need to come up with they need to look into all these scenarios. So the companies there, where you can have these opportunities of being a design engineer is a manufacturing industry as well as design consultancies, where they just do the designing thing, and as per the client requirement. These clients can be a government or a private bodies. The skills required for a designing people are 3D design softwares, maybe CATIA or Fusion 360 uh, or SolidWorks, and then ANSYS analysis. So I wanted to show you something. I don't know if the time is permitting us or not, but I think I should, because
क्या देख रहे थे? Best news! Growing businesses need a hosting solution that is powerful yet easy to manage. Let's look at how business.
The view is.
so is my screen visible to you?
So, no, Garvit, I think we are unable to see you on the screen.
Okay.
Garvit, can we have this at the last of the session, or I mean, can you share us the link so that we can post it parallelly on the group so that people can?
Yeah, sure. Because actually, I just wanted to show, because it is kind of a warehouse of a drone manufacturing company. So anyway, no issues. We will continue with the slideshow. So I will explain it easily here itself. So in this video, they have shown that all the parts of a drone. So as we saw that this particular drone of DJI, so there is a upper shell, there is a lower shell, there is a camera, there is a landing gear, there are propellers, there are motors. So all these things in this video have been shown from a different company, of course, but all these shells and everything are, all the sensors are separate, and how they manage. So there will be one person who will totally work on the camera integration with the autopilot system. There will be one person who will be assembling the lower shell with the landing gears. There will be one person who will totally be working on the camera integration with the lower shell of this drone, and then there will be a totally different person who will be covering up the upper shelf and covering the full drone, and then there will be a person who will be going to ground test and field test it. So the major reason behind talking about this, I mean, for sharing this video, was that in the further process we are going to talk about manufacturing and all these positions that will be available in any company. So as a manufacturing management, so this position requires a person who has to look into the inspection of the assembly lines, who need to so as I said, like the lower shell, upper shell, all these products are assembled properly, or the things are going on by the team or not. So all these things he or she needs to overlook from their perspective. Then there comes the quality analysis. There are certain things that, like, during the transportation, a couple of shells have got some crack, or some camera is not working, some program is having issues. So all these issues they need to identify, analyze, and they can guide the team for the solution. They can uh, um, they can even guide the trader from where they have purchased these raw materials. So all these things need to be analyzed and identified by a manufacturing management personnel. So from the manufacturing, so all the parts in terms of kit to the ground testing, everything comes under a manufacturing management person. And this is only for companies which are having manufacturing their product like BGI, and they have the mass manufacturing in terms of commercial of the shelf. The best fit person, so there can be two person that may be required. One is looking after the general project management of, like, I have got 100 orders and I have to deliver it in 15 days. How I am going to do it? So that is one aspect, and that comes under the general management aspect of project management. And another is a technical aspect, that what should be the design of the drone, and technically, I mean, design is, of course, it is finalized, but as the parts that have been self-designed and procured as per our design. So if I'll give a design to someone, I will procure 100 pieces of it, but I will need to check it. So all these things needs to be done in terms of technical inspection, and for technical inspection, an aeronautical engineer or a mechanical engineer as a manufacturing manager are the best fit. But I will say, like, this is kind of an experience position where you have some experience of hardware and other assemblies, or maybe even testing. Then there comes a position of hardware engineer, where design calculations need to be done. What kind of drone they are going to work for a customized requirement or for commercial of the self things, and what is the best efficient material for their drones. Like, some drones require a plastic shell. Some drones can have carbon fiber arms. And then it's assembly, hardware testing, and autopilot integration, motor assemblies. Everything is working on. All these test beds and all the all the product subsystem assembly, and keeping it ready to fly. So that comes up in terms of hardware engineer. And so in that video, there was one hardware engineer who was totally working on these assembly things. So this is the main aspect for hardware, that everything gets built under this person. And the best fit people are aeronautical, mechanical, and electronics engineer. And the companies that they can work in are manufacturing and servicing. Now, hardware engineer can also get some work related to maintenance of a drone. So it's kind of one motor is not working, so you have to just replace it. Then there are software engineers, as we talked about CSIT engineers for R&D. Here they can have a similar work culture, like sensor integration and operations, where the flight controllers are, as I said, like lidar systems are not available with the flight controller integration readily. So I don't have a GUI to directly just connect it and play it and fly it. So for those purpose, you can develop a program or something that is that one person in your company that can directly use it easily. And then there is AI based program. So if I give you an example, like I have a camera but I need my drone to count the trees. I want to count um, uh, number of ships that are on the road. So that way we can program our we can have our own design and program drones which will directly count the number of ships that are available on the road. So this is about ship, but we can have anything. We can have a number plate. We can have vehicles. We can count anything. Then there is a SLAM programming required because we need to have a drone that goes inside of some mining or warehouse, or it flies inside the drone, inside the room. So it's like when we talk about mining, under I mean uh, there are mines which are below the land. So there we need to fly a drone, and they need to examine certain things. So normally our drone flies with a GPS system uh, when we are flying in the air outside. But inside the mines or a room or a warehouse, we are not going to have a GPS system available. For that purpose, we need to have a SLAM, that is a SLAM programming of localization and mapping. Uh, See, there is one another aspect of swarm. So swarm is multiple drones where one drone will be a master and all the other drones will be slave. So I can fly 20 drones at a time, and it will be collectively keeping the distance within itself. They will be flying in forward motion, backward. They will make a circle, or whatever command you will give. One that command will pass to master, and then the slave will follow the slaves will follow those commands. So I just need to control only one drone. All the other 19 drones will be controlled automatically. So that is a pre-programmed thing. And then there are gesture control drones where I will just move my hand towards the right, the drone will go on the right. But these things are for toy and other applications, some R&D purposes things. So for these things, we need someone who is from computer and IT, but with the skills of Python, deep learning, machine learning, AI, and then so these skills are required, and the companies they can work are manufacturing companies, um, and R&D companies, and servicing sector needs very less until and unless they get some counting thing projects. As I said, repair and maintenance are always there because a field on the side they are going to have some crash, they have some transportation troubles, they will there may be some damage due to certain issues. So, and then there is always a time for wear and tear, and if a motor stops working, a propeller broke. So all these small and these things need to be repaired. So this comes as a repair and maintenance of the fleet, and this can have a technician. Now, if you want to learn about these things, then you will have to go to see. One thing I always say to everyone that don't go to don't start your career with the bigger company. Um, if you start from the company that is very small, like I started with Jagar Aero product. The company was small with 10 to 15 people. it is a proprietorship company, but the experience I got is of DRDO level. Whatever salary or whatever I was gaining in terms of growth, that is a different thing. But the knowledge wise, in the beginning, if you have something, some company like this, then you are going to have a tremendous growth in the future because of your experience. So for this, you can get into certain companies like this, and you can get yourself trained for field technicians and junior engineers. You can do the solderings and multimeters, play around these things, and you can have a assembly. You can do the assembly things in the beginning. So once you are done with the repair and maintenance, you will be able to go with the hardware engineer, and then you can have some experience in terms of design calculations, and then you can go for manufacturing things. So there you can have your own design, there you can have your own manufacturing, your own manufactured drone. And a diploma or a BTech level electronics and mechanical engineers are, I think that's the best fit for this role. Then there are the requirements of business development and sales for sales and marketing purpose. There you need to organize the client, then you need to connect with the clients. When the clients are having some requirements, you need to understand, and you need to explain it to your technical manager in the company. So it's like you have to pass on the information whether it is feasible to do or not. If there are any changes, you will have to inform the client that at 60 meter I cannot fly. I will need to fly at 80 meter. If you want to work on if you want to finish the work in one day, as we have limitation for a day, that like in one day we can do something like 200 hectare of area for land mapping. But if the client asks that at 60 meter you have to fly, I mean, you finish the work for 400 hectare or maybe 300 hectare. So maybe a business developer will say that I will try, but if it is not possible, then technical manager is going to deny and ask to um, explain or give some solutions, like instead of 60 we can fly at 80, so that we can cut down the flight time. So all these aspects need to be managed by the business developer, and they should have a technical matter understanding, because so drone is something like they may not have a totally in-depth knowledge, but at least they should have some ability to talk with the client. And all the companies are going to have a business developer, business developing manager requirement. Then comes the project and operation management position, where, as I said, I used to manage the team. I used to manage the project and solve, troubleshoot the issues that the team used to have on the field. So sometimes the camera is not working. There is some issue with the cables, or the calibration of the drone is required. So all these aspects needs to be guided to a team that is on the field. So UAV maintenance and observation. When they come after, when they have done the full day flying, once the team is back, or maybe they are on the long mission, I will need to analyze that what are all the flight timings, I mean, what are all the flights, was there any issue with the flight? So there comes a flight log into the picture, that all the flights need to be logged on the paper or on the software form, maybe our Google Keep Notes, or maybe we have an application for flight logging systems. That 10 flights have been done, total of 200 minutes have been flown, and was there any issue, the battery is damaged, or the batteries are not charging, so whatever, any issue can come up in the field. So then comes the pilot and operator. That's the job that is totally hectic, and the pilot needs to go from one field to another, one farm to another farm. They may have to work with the drones and all the necessary equipments on the field, even in scorching heat, whether it is a cold weather or something like that. Because until and unless it's raining, we are flying. The other aspect is everywhere we cannot have our vehicle that is going to the flying spot. So they may have to walk also. So that tomorrow, today they are in one city, tomorrow they may be in some different city. So all these things are covered up. Even they have to, once the drone is in the air, they need to note down the start time of the drone, end time of the drone flight. If they are coming up with the issues, they have to consult, and some client will be there. They have to manage even the client who is asking that why are you flying this way, why are you not flying this way, and they also need to go for mission planning. So maybe I will be an operation management personnel will be managing the team, and he will be uh, he will he will plan the mission for them, for the team. But if there are any changes required as per the pilot's observation, pilot should know mission planning things also. And there is no need of being an engineer for being a pilot. But of course, an engineer can become a pilot if he wants to travel, and if he wants to, um, if he likes to, he has a passion of flying the drones. So they need to have a good communication skills of Hindi and English, and they need to be peaceful. That's the first thing. They need to be patient. They need to be decisive. They needs to follow the ethics. It cannot be like if the drone is coming for landing. There, I have seen that there are pilots who just capture the landing gears of the drone and land on their hands itself. So that's the thing where you damage. There are possibilities where you can injure yourself, and with holding one landing gear, there are chances that your landing gear may fail, and those impacts definitely comes up. So this show of things they do not have to do. They do not have to fly for their own purpose of showing off and taking their personal photography that I see I am flying the drone. So there are certain personal ethics that needs to be there apart from the company ethics. Then uh, so these things that they need to be cautious, they need to be decisive. That any moment, if the drone says that there is an obstacle in front of me, I have a tower. As we see in this picture, the drone is flying in front of this pilot. If it goes to the tower and it identifies that there is a tower, it cannot go. Then there should be a decisive power of within a fraction of second that I will call the drone for returning, or should I or is the distance between remote and the drone is less than 500 meters that I can control it. If you do not have the confidence, I will say like call the drone for return to landing. Have another mission. It is of course it is definitely better to go for an another flight consuming that consumes our additional battery instead of ending up our drone with a crash. So these things pilot needs to be taken care of. Then comes the data processing. Once the pilot is returned with the data, that data needs to be analyzed uh, by the by the team for the quality checking purpose. And once these images are fine for processing, they put on the processing softwares like 640 and QGIS, RGIS. For this purpose, someone that is best fit, that is masters in GIS and remote sensing, or maybe the bachelor's even. Some even masters contains like MTech RSGIS, as well as MTech in MSc in RSGIS also. There are courses. In terms of work, this contour elevations, marking, and water flow analysis, as I said, like if a wall is about to fly, like we worked on a project of Malad wall fall. So there was a wall that fell, and some 20 to 25 daily wagers got killed. So how this happened, what is the flow, and if further this wall breaks due to excess of water, then where the water will flow. So all these things that can be analyzed with the help of this softwares, and they need to be quite creative, like how they are going to how they are going to analyze these things with the help of this software. So that's basically a using of the software and working on it. So I think I am done with the technical and what are all the career aspects I have. Um, yes. So in terms of recruitment and interview questions, see, the main thing is um, in this field, everybody asks for your skills. So basically, if one is applying for internship, then it's fine. But so in that case, as I said, mechanical, electronics, and what are all the best fit people will be recruited as an intern engineer. But when you are applying, so if you have done something in terms of repair and hardware engineering, and now you are applying for data processing, then you will be definitely be rejected. And so once you are done with your repair and maintenance internship, and you are applying for your hardware job, hardware engineer job, then in that case they will definitely be asking for your what practically you have done, whether you have flown a drone or not, whether you have whether you know soldering, you know working on CRO, whether you can work on assembly of the system, what are all the assemblies you have done so far. They may give you a kit, and they may ask you to assemble the drones. So now we are totally based on, so it's not like previously we used to get interviews where they will give you a program and uh, totally irrelevant things, I will say. Like I do not need in this field. If I want to go for hardware things, I do not. It's not necessary for me to have a knowledge of Python or machine learning or deep learning, and it is not required for the company, because they are definitely not going to take this task from me of Python and other coding. So we are totally going now practical, and we ask we ask you to show your practical skills, and in to the point way. If you are a simulation engineer, I will give you something that you have a square or you have a rectangle that my drone wants to fly on this path, and with the best tuning thing. So how you are going to do it with the help of your coding thing. Uh, that's how we are now working on. I think I have ended up with this presentation, and so I have one thing to announce for you before I communicate with Dhiraj regarding this seminar. That I have just wrote a book on basics of unmanned aerial vehicle, which is now available on Notion Press as well as Amazon.in. In a couple of days, it will be available over on Flipkart. So the price is 600 rupees, and it contains everything. If someone wants to go on data processing, business management, and all these aspects, I will definitely say that this book is not for you. This basic of unmanned aerial vehicle book is for someone who wants to go in the manufacturing in terms of hardware, in terms of designing and developing the drone. For those, this book is totally useful, and it contains all the basic aspects of multi-rotor system, fixed-wing vehicles, helicopters, and what are all the electronics required. Totally, it is covered in the depth of, and even I would like to mention that this career-related information that we talked about, most of the things are covered even that in that book, in the appendix of that book. So this 200 pages book is um, quite a compact thing, which is giving you quite a depth information. And definitely you need to start working on drones practically, because this is the high time and the government is coming up with a lot of things in this field. Another thing is it is not necessary that everybody works on development or totally on the drone field. But if you want to contribute something, you can also work on the motors or propellers or ESCs or flight controller systems. So these are the subparts of the UAVs, which is directly or indirectly contributing to the drone field in India. So if you want a book, this is the seminar. This is the price for seminar participant as 500 rupees, and you can note down my email. You can contact Dhiraj, or maybe you can connect with me on my LinkedIn for if you want a book.
Okay, thank you so much, Garvit.
Yeah.
Thank you once again, and I think this was very in-depth talk and discussion, including career as well as technical aspects. Hope to see you soon for the next session. Thank you once again, Garvit. See you.
Yeah, fine.